Happy Saturday. We are here. We're rocking and rolling. We are going to do a little bit of a different live today, specifically because I've been getting a lot of questions lately about how I do my templates, if I even sell templates anymore, and really kind of the psychology behind them. And I am actually getting ready to launch a new template. It kind of came out of nowhere, but I think it's going to be super useful for my audience. And so I figured it'd be a really great day to take you along the ride, talk through my methodology for building, why I think you should kind of slow your roll a little bit in launching templates, and be more strategic about them. And then I'm actually going to put my template together. So I have been using it personally for 16 days, give or take 2 weeks. And now it's ready to become a template. I feel confident in kind of where it's at. And that I think is the key. So we're going to get into kind of all the phases and the thought process and everything I go through. I'm going to actually build out my template. So taking what I currently have, templatizing it. And then you're also going to see how I set up I call it kind of the instruction page, right? So this is where you tell people, hey, this is how you duplicate the template. These are the best practices of how to use it. Usually that is where I also include a video on how to use it, which I will film later, obviously, because we are streaming. And then you're also going to see me set it up in Lemon Squeezy today as well. So, first things first, let me go ahead and start my screen share. So, we have a simple process that I follow every single time I make a template. For a bit of a backstory, if you guys don't know, I actually started my Notion journey making a template. Well, technically, I started by making a video about how I use Notion to run my business. And then I had somebody reach out about 7 or 8 times to make them a template and build out their Notion space. I'm like, guys, I just make logos. Like, I don't know. I don't know what that means. I finally said yes. And, in my mind with this client, I was like, man, like if she's asking me this much for a Notion template for her design agency, chances are other people are looking for this too. And so I cut a deal with this girl and I said, hey, I'll do it. I'm not even kidding you. This was mid 2020. And I said, I'll do it for 500 bucks because I'm going to turn around and sell it. So I know I'm going to make money on it. And she was like, cool, sounds great, right? She didn't have to spend thousands of dollars on this. And since then, that was my first template bundle, which I really only sold. I really have never gotten so deep into selling templates. Like I don't have a bunch on the market. I don't sit here and, you know, try to come up with the next best template. I will say though, in my content subscription workflow of the month, there are way more templates in there that are not available publicly, but those are more for like client reviews or, resources and things that you could add to your Notion workspace. But this very specifically that we're talking about today it's going to be sold publicly. It's going to have a price tag. And I think I'm going to probably put it in the Notion template gallery as well because I haven't uploaded anything there in a while. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I know that I kind of got started. I didn't really wait. So if you are tuning in, feel free to hit the rewind button and watch the intro. But yeah, so, I sold Notion for Designers for probably 2.5 years. I made almost $100,000 on it. I was selling it for originally $67. That was my main price point. And then I upped it to $147 before I really started looking at the data behind it. Because if you've been following me for a while, you may or may not know that I never once marketed Notion for Designers. I gave it away for free to 10 friends that own design agencies. And I was like, hey, play with this. And if you like it, leave me a review. And that was the only marketing I ever did. And I did about 89K on that template bundle. So not just shy of 100K, right? But for zero marketing over 2 years, in my opinion, it's beautiful, right? Um, and so I started looking at the data and I said, okay, like, how many people are actually using this template? How many people, have things that they wish that was in there or that wasn't in there, because it was a full operating system. And so I started kind of reaching out to people. I did some kind of like some brain picking calls with people who had bought it. And I kept hearing the same thing over and over again, that this is awesome, but I'm not at a place where I need everything that you included. And so Notion for Designers slowly turned into Systems OS, which was kind of the first ever plug and play template subscription. That is what I've been selling for the last year. I recently took it down because it's going through another iteration. But it allowed people to buy in on an annual subscription rate and always have access to the template library. And from there, in the education piece of it, it was like, hey, this template pairs really well with this template, and this template goes really well. So it was really like, hey, you can start anywhere and you're always going to be building on it, right? And so that I was selling for what, 297 a year on subscription, and we recently shut it down. It's getting a revamp, and it's going to have more than just Notion templates. It's going to have things about your processes. So you'll kind of go through an exploratory phase to decide what version of Systems OS you need, and then it'll unlock access from there. So today, we are specifically talking about my new financial tracker system. Systems is my business name, if you didn't know. Hi, hello. And this, honestly, I wasn't planning on releasing this as a template, but I've kind of been like tweeting about it. Yeeting. I've been yeeting about it, Xing about it, whatever the term is. And it's gotten a lot of really good traction. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just release this as a bonus during 12 days of giveaways. And then I'll put a real price tag on it, and we'll upload it to the template gallery. We'll sell it, see how it does. And kind of go from there. So, my process, my methodology, you can see on the screen, it is so simple. And I think this is a really great framework if you are considering selling a template. And it doesn't have to be Notion, okay? So, I'm going to also say, you could sell ClickUp templates, you could sell Asana templates, you could sell Paperform templates. Like, you can literally templatize anything, right? Also, if you are in the design space, right, and we are friends because that was my previous life, follow this if you're trying to sell a Squarespace template or a Framer template. Like, it does not have to be crazy detailed in the process you follow, because you need to be spending more time on the value and how you're educating people once they get in the template. And I will say, just as a quick side note, that has always been my biggest bone to pick with people who are template creators. And I'm not calling anyone specifically out, but I think that there's this kind of fear and race to the top to make as much money as you can and be known in the creator economy. And I think a lot of people skip the stuff we're going to go over today. And I know that they do, because I have downloaded templates and I'm like, what the fuck do I do with this? Like, how? I don't understand like, why, like, there's no context here. Like, I don't I could have just built this. I didn't need to give you my email. I didn't need to like go through the download thing and go through all of that. And so if you are considering starting to sell templates, bookmark this video, save this video, follow it to a T, because I have built my entire business off of selling one template. And now I do consulting and I do all of these other things. So just keep that in mind. I have the experience. I'm not trying to like stroke an ego, but I do know that the framework I'm going to show you guys today works. Okay. So very simply, starting with a template idea. Now, you can kind of take this two ways, right? So you might say, man, I've been looking for a template to track all of my PR, all of the podcasts I'm on, right? There's nothing out there. Okay, well, I'm going to go build it. And then you're like, oh, other people might need this template, right? That's kind of where the ideation comes from. But the other piece of it is where I'm at today, where I'm like, oh, I didn't realize like this thing that I'm building like could have been a template. And so now it's like, okay, let's turn this into a template and kind of simplify it a little bit, add the value, go here and create it. So that's the first piece, is ideating, right? The second piece of that is you need to build and use it for yourself, okay? And show people the context, show people the data if you can, obviously. I'm a very transparent person. You're not going to see emails, but you might see a name you recognize in some of my data today. You need to actually use it. Okay. I think a lot of people, again, on that race in the creator economy are just like spewing it out, and that's fine. But what if people have questions? What if, you build this thing and you're like, oh, this is so great, awesome, cool, I'm going to sell it. And then all of a sudden you use it 3 months later, or someone buys it and they have questions. And you're like, oh man, I could have built this a completely different way, right? So keep that in mind. Like as you use it, things are going to change. Even last night, I was updating. I was updating the template we're talking about today, and I was like, oh man, like I think this would be easier for other people if I build it this way. And so I completely redid like a whole section, and it's totally fine. Yes, so framework, system, process, workflow, template. Love it. Yes, that is exactly where you want to go with it. That's the framework, really. I mean, it's that simple. So we want the framework, we're going to use it, we're going to create the template, and then obviously market and sell it. Now, creating the template, I am a firm believer that every template that you sell needs to have sample data. Okay, this is another piece that I see templates all the time, and I'm like, what do I do with this? What does it look like if there's context in there? So, have either a what's the word I'm thinking of? Like a buyer persona, like you have like fake customers. Build a persona in there as if you have already used the template. Give it to people so they can see the template in action. You can also use that sample data. I do this where I use that sample data in the video walkthrough of the template. Okay. So as I'm like recording the video, I will insert that sample data and I'll just leave it there. And that is so much of a nice bonus that I think you can give people, is to show them how to actually use it. So yeah, so you're going to create the template on whatever platform it is that you sell, and then or use rather, and then you're going to market and sell it. And so in the marketing and selling, I use lemon squeezy personally. I was part of the big Gumroad exodus last year, and I have not looked back, and I absolutely love what they are building, what JR and Omar are building. I love the platform, so I will always sell there. However, I also am a Notion creator, so I'm a part of the template gallery. I sold on AppSumo for a while, but they recently, well, I guess earlier this year, up and decided that they aren't supporting Notion templates anymore. So all of my stuff got taken down off AppSumo. So I'm not there, but that's it. That's really all I sell. And when we think about Lemon Squeezy, that's really just a paywall, right? So I will have usually either, depending on how big it is, right? Like when we think about Systems OS, that had a whole sales page and then the checkout at the end. For this instance, I probably won't do that. I will probably just put it on Lemon Squeezy and link it in an email, write an email about it. Obviously be here on YouTube, and then kind of play it by ear from there, do some social posts. But I don't stress about my templates, guys. Like it's valuable, and whoever needs it and finds it valuable, like they will come across it, and it is a part of, my expert repertoire. But that's it. That's all you got to do. And then let people know that you have released it. It doesn't need to be this big, massive undertaking. Tweet it out, email it out, put it on LinkedIn, whatever works for you. I will say, as a bonus though, this template specifically, I am releasing as a bonus. So currently, 12 days of giveaways is going on. Today is day 6. Yeah, 6. And so I am giving it out to anyone who is enrolled or has RSVP'd for 12 days of giveaways. You will actually get the template we are talking about today for free. And well, you'll get a discount code basically that makes it 100% off. And then anybody who's not RSVP'd to 12 days will just pay for it. And I think I'm just going to pop it out for like maybe 17 bucks. And we'll talk about pricing too. Actually, we can do that now in the marketing piece. So you can decide what you charge your templates to be. I tend to stay on the lower end. I've had a lot of success with templates under $100, but I've also had a lot of success with doing kind of an annual subscription at the $300 rate. And I've had people renew, and it's recurring revenue for me. But I will say, if you are just doing like a tiny little database, like one-off thing with one template, does it need to be $100? Probably not. You could do just as well selling a template for 10 bucks versus 17 bucks versus $67. So it's hard to I think put a price tag on your template, but you just have to kind of see what is similar in the market and what feels good to you and kind of go from there. I will say it is easier to start lower and increase than it is to go higher and decrease. So that is something to think about. This template specifically, I think it also matters about what is included, right? So in mine, you are going to get in this financial tracker system. It's going to include 3 total databases that are all interlinked, formulas, relations, roll ups, not so much templates, but really like the value here is all of the interconnections. And I usually do that with my templates where I will sit and say, if you don't currently have Notion, if you don't currently and or feel comfortable resetting up the relations yourself, these are already pre-done for you and you can just move the data. You don't need to stress about connecting all the pieces and making sure that roll-ups work and relations work and all of that good stuff. You can just take my databases and move your data into them basically and use them if you want. So I think that's another value piece that a lot of people don't talk about with templates is that it really has to do with the context that's in there and the heavy lifting that has to do with the template itself. And that comes in the delivery page that I always develop for everybody. And that's just like, here's where you duplicate. If you don't currently have a Notion account, do this, do that. That's got my affiliate link. And then I will kind of go through the different things where it's like, if you have these 3 databases and you feel comfortable reconnecting, here's how you reconnect relational columns and rollups, right? Obviously, you have to make sure that you have those properties. So that's like a whole nother level to it. But also, here's how you move your data. It's very simple. Those are all the things I want you to think about as you are considering selling a template, is really what value are you providing? Are you problem solving? Is it just more of like a feel good on releasing something? If it is, then like just get people's emails, like if it's something where you're like, this was just fun to make. And if you want it, cool, like grab their emails and go. Like you don't need to worry so much about like, am I going to make, all this money off of it, right? Because in my opinion, give your best shit away for free, then put a price tag on the rest. Anyway, all right, I've got my coffee, which does not taste as good as I wish that it did today. All right, so just to recap, you have your template idea. You need to build and use it for yourself. You're going to create the template, which means you're going to pull all your personal data out, kind of maybe rename some properties. Then we're going to market and sell it. So my financial tracker system is going to have 3 primary databases: a leads tracker, a sales tracker, and an overall monthly tracker. And that's really what that financial piece is. Okay, so let's go through what a kind of template looks like for when I give somebody a template. So I kind of call this like the knowledge hub of the template, but what it includes is what platform, so this is like the base data, right? So when was the release date? I like to know this because I try to update my templates at least once a year. I would love to do it sooner, given release features and things like that. But once a year is sometimes all I can do. What platform is it on? A quick description of it, the price, and the type of sell. So is it an exclusive of Workflow of the Month? Is it a free download, free sale? I just have those two things hidden. I don't really care if people see that, right? They know what they paid for the template. And then it comes with just a quick little blurb that says, hey, thanks for downloading the title of the template. You'll find everything you need below to be successful. And then to get started, click the duplicate button or click here if you don't have an account. I need to pull my affiliate link. I'm not actually sure where I have that housed, so I will find that here in a little while. The first section of this, the next thing, is going to be the template overview. So, like I mentioned, I do a really nice polished televideo for every template that I make. That includes me kind of using sample data to show you how to actually work the template. I will record that when I'm done live streaming. The next piece is going to be actually using the template with your data. So I pretty much include this in every single section in every single template that I create. And it is basically just super simple. So, what properties are included in this template? So, text, number, files, relations, rollups, and formulas. What do they do? And then the next piece is connecting your current data. So, if you are comfortable updating relations and rollups, watch this video. I'll walk you through it. Or if you're not, you can just transfer your current data. So if you're not comfortable, watch this and I'll show you how to move your data over. Now, these are two things that I've had on my to-do list to templatize for a very long time, so that these are just the same video every single time. So I might make that my goal today, to actually template these videos out, and then I can just add them into the template that I have for my template library for creating new templates. And then I don't have to do it anymore. And then the next piece that I forgot that we just were talking about is automations and integrations. So what I will do is I will link any Zapier automations that I've built for my own. I will link that here so you can make a copy of that. And then the last thing, obviously, is to duplicate the template. Now, as we were kind of talking earlier, in my brain, I was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. I don't think I'm going to do that one. This makes a lot of sense to have multiple different versions of this template. So if you are only doing projects, duplicate this one for expenses and projects. If you are only doing digital products, aka sales, duplicate this version. If you are doing both projects and sales, duplicate the whole thing. And so I'm going to make it easier on people so they don't have to go through and figure out what columns to delete and all that good stuff. I'm just going to go ahead and make these 3 different options, because then selfishly, when we think about marketing and selling, right? I literally could market all 3 versions of this, and then it all just goes into one sale. Like, I could do different kind of content that's like, track your sales here, right? Use my financial tracker to track your sales. Use my financial tracker to track your projects. And then they just buy all into one template, and then they get all the options, right? So in the drop down will be the actual templates themselves. So that's what we need to build next. Oh, and this, I should actually say, guys, this is a great use case for the new feature in Notion that allows you to duplicate without content. So let me show you. So as we talked about in this process, you should be using the templates you sell first, which means you're going to have content in them. You're going to have data. And so now when let's say like our leads we need to do next, if I click duplicate, it gives me the option to duplicate with or without content. And so what we'll do is click without content, and then it'll just be a blank database with all the properties. And you don't have to worry about going in and deleting things and, deleting all your data and all that good stuff. So definitely a great use case for when you are creating templates. So next up, like I mentioned, we're going to go into lemon squeezy. I personally use lemon squeezy for my stuff. I was a part of the big exodus to Gumroad. Or rather from Gumroad. And I really love what JR and Omar are building. So I will gladly stay on them. You don't have to pay upfront for Lemon Squeezy, same with Gumroad, but they do take a percentage. And the other main thing that I want to talk about of why I use Lemon Squeezy is because of the built-in affiliate platform. I really like that anybody who buys my stuff can become an affiliate. Discounts are easy, subscriptions are easy. They work really well with Zapier. So all of that just like really kind of gets the juices going, if you will. So as you can see, I have some stuff here. Some of this, like, I don't even push anymore. I don't think I even have it like publicized. So yeah, they're active, but like I don't personally care about them. So like for instance, like the creative portfolio, I give that as a free download. Um, and yeah, even like the recipe template book, I did a video on that over the summer. And it's a pay what you want. So like a few people have given me a couple of dollars to download it. Very cool though. And then my project proposal lead tracker, since I put a dollar amount on this has gone great. I make about 2 sales a week on that, which is really fun. And yeah, so all that to be said, let's go ahead and set this up. So if you've never used Lemon Squeezy, welcome. So we're going to start with a new product, and I'm just going to squeeze this over. Okay, so we are going to call it the financial tracker system, and we're going to say track expenses, revenue, projects, and sales revenue every month. And so this is going to be a single payment, standard pricing. You can do package pricing. You can do a lead magnet. So it's just for free. We just ask for people's emails. You can do a subscription. You can also do that pay what you want. And on the pay what you want, you can choose like a minimum price or just do a suggested price. So minimum means they have to spend X amount of dollars. But suggested is like, hey, you can put 0, but I would really love for you to pay 5, right? And they can still check out even if they put something lower. But we're going to do a single thing, and we're going to do $15. Oh, not 1500, 15. Okay, and it is going in the tax category, it's going to be a digital good. Now, the media, that is going to be, any mock-ups, anything that you want to like showcase. We'll make those in a second. So we're going to skip that for right now. And then files. This doesn't need to be a file, but what it needs to do is after they download, it'll just redirect to that link. So if you wanted to kind of make people jump through hoops and download a PDF with a password or, whatever, if you're doing it that way, I know, for instance, like a great example, Will Myers, he makes Squarespace plugins. When you buy from him, you get a download like text doc and it gives you a password to access a page on his website. So like there's definitely different ways you can do that. As you guys know with Notion, you can't put a password on a page unless you have like super, and regardless, even if you put a password on it, someone can still share the link. So I just do a redirect. It's not a big deal. And then obviously, like, we don't have any variances here, so we can skip that. I also don't generate license keys. There's no point here. I do that for my subscription, so I can kind of track who does what. And I make them enter that into onboarding questionnaires and things like that. Okay, and sure, we could put this on our Squeezy, storefront. You don't have to. A lot of my stuff isn't on my storefront. Doesn't really matter. And then we want to customize the confirmation. So this is what shows after people download. So we'll say, thanks for downloading. Um, we can say, right on, you're being redirected to access the financial tracker system in Notion now. And a great example, actually, of a variance I was thinking about is I have a free template. It's a guide. It's called the audit guide, and it basically like helps you audit all of your processes. I just have that as like an email sign up. But if I wanted to put it in here, I actually, in the first email when you download, you can choose between Notion or a Google Doc. So that would be a great variance here is, are you buying the Google Doc version or are you buying the Notion version? So there's a lot you can do. And when you're creating templates, um, and depending on who your audience is, that's something to be mindful of because even though this is such a crazy data point, but even though like most people know me for Notion and I have, I'm a certified consultant and all my content's about Notion for the most part, the majority of people who download the audit guide actually click the Google Drive or the Google Doc link. They don't actually use it in Notion, which I find so fascinating. So it's just something to think about as you keep learning about your audience. So we'll just call this duplicate the template. Oh, probably help if I could spell today. Okay, and then the button link is going to go to the template page itself. So as I mentioned, my template library is privatized, so you can't click back, you can't look at anything. So what we need to do is open up the publishing for the financial tracker. We don't need a link expiration, but we don't want editing or commenting. We do, however, want them to duplicate. So I'm going to go ahead and click that link. We're going to drop that into the button link here. And then the email receipt, you can add stuff. The email receipt most people don't look at, but we do want to add in the button text. So we'll say, just in case they didn't get the redirect or they need to come back to it, we'll say duplicate the template here. We'll add here, there as well. Thanks for downloading and supporting a Notion creator. That's fine. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and click publish and the product is saved. So now if we go to the share, I just want to show you kind of what this page looks like. Obviously, I'm going to create the product mockups in a second, but it looks just like Stripe. So this is the page that I would either put in an email link. I would put in, like embed this link if I'm doing a full sales page on my website. This is the page that they would get. So you would just basically copy that link and go on your way. You can actually turn off like the discount code. So I'm going to do that not now, but in the future because I'm allowing 12 days users to get this for free. Their discount code will be need to be added so they get that discount. You can also pay with different ways. I think I have Apple Pay, Google Pay, and like just different ones set up on Lemon Squeezy, so you can dictate that as well. So now we need to do the mockups. This is something that I don't love doing, if I'm being completely honest with you. And I have a template. Yeah. So Lemon Squeezy does require a specific image for like your mockups and your media. And so here it'll tell you. So this one, it needs to be 1600 by 1200, which is a 4x3. So that way it doesn't get cut off as people are looking. So I usually, honestly, I just do like one. I do one mock-up and I call it a day. I don't go crazy with it. I'm trying to think what kind I want to do this time though. Perfect. All right. Done. Now all we need to do is add this to Lemon Squeezy. We've got this downloaded. I think it's this one. Yes. Okay. Now let's just do one test on the product. I always like to do that before I go crazy with it. So let's share. I'll copy this link, go into our incognito window. And discount code is there. I will just use my crap test email. Discount code, what did I just say? 12 days fin buy. And as you can see now, it only does the email. We're going to submit the order. We're good to go. We are going to duplicate the template. And here we go. So now you'll see we have the duplicate here, try Notion. And that is that. It is done. All right, guys, that is literally how you package and sell a Notion template from start, just start to finish, literally. That's insane. And it took us 3 hours to get that done. And that includes like all the talking and stuff at the beginning. So, really, if you think about it, I developed, built, and packaged, and technically it is for sale now. A full template in about 2 hours because I think I talked for like 45 minutes before we got started. So that is not bad. And that is the whole point, that if you are already using the templates that you have, to actually package it up, templatize it out, is really not that big of a feat. So I hope you found this video insightful and useful. And if you did, give it a thumbs up, give it a like, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your sister, tell your brother, whoever, tell your coworkers. Go download this template now that it's available. I'm going to finish doing those videos today, but if you want to get your hands on it now and before anybody else, I will put it in the link of this video. I'll put it in the description. And thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.